I'd like to call this meeting of the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee to order, Tuesday, July 22nd. Thank you for the minutes, Ann. You bet. Any comments? Everybody happy? Did you have a chance to see them, Patty? Yeah. Yep, okay, so we'll take a vote. Aye? Aye. Okay. And Chief?
Did you guys have a chance to review those are released to council, the July CFS numbers? We had 454 calls for service, heavy traffic enforcement, and a slew of other stuff.
And 49 new cases?
49, yep.
Geez.
Yep.
347 bookings?
Evidence bookings, yeah, that's including, evidence photos, drugs, firearms, everything. So, I'd say the overwhelming majority of our evidence submissions are photographs, but we have 5 methamphetamine bookings.
And you still have room to put them all somewhere? You bet, thank you. 347.
So what our technician does is,
There you go.
for very old cases that have been,
There you go.
that are no longer, active, they, will put in a request to the judge's office for evidence destruction. So that's how we try to keep it as open as we can, but, I mean, yeah, it's not.
347 is a lot for 1 month.
Yeah.
But so is 454, that's like twice what you normally see.
About, yep,
But it's July.
yep.
And animal abuse and child abuse.
Mhm.
Did anybody have any other comments on?
Madam Chair, I had a question for the chief that I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and ask. On the traffic contact or complaints,
Yeah.
do you have an idea off the top of your head, what sort of a ratio of those are warnings versus what percentage of them are they citing?
If you give me 5 minutes, I can go get that info right now.
Yeah.
Is that would you like me to do that?
Yeah, I'm just, and there's specific spots right here, like, and Airport Road is one of them that I've gotten a lot of contacts on, probably just because I'm around some of those folks that talk about people getting pulled over, but I think a lot of them, they're just warning. I don't know if it's necessarily citing, but I just wanted to be able to.
Could be, it depends on the offense.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back.
Sure.
Yep.
Am I disrupting the meeting by the chief leaving?
No.
I'm just stepping right next door.
Well, there was a question there too. What happens, when they're fined, where does that money go?
It goes city court. Oh, where do those dollars go? It goes into the city, but I think it's just general. I don't think it's set aside.
Goes into the general fund?
Yeah.
That depends whether the offender is charged with a municipal violation or a state code violation.
And if it's state, it goes where?
State.
Oh,
The surcharge is retained by city court. However, the funds go to the state, but we do enforce municipal infractions. We have municipal offenses for speed.
yeah.
Disorderly conduct, stuff like that. It depends.
And we don't want to we don't want this to be seen as a money-making thing in any way, shape, or form, because that's not the intention.
No, I was just curious as to where the funds went.
Be right back.
All right. I thought I would throw on the agenda, the, police department, a budget review. I know that, that admin and finance has already taken a look at it. And I just thought that this committee should also spend a few minutes, and if you had any questions, I'll try to answer them, or the mayor will, in lieu of the chief leaving, which I didn't make a copy of them, so. Have you guys had a chance to look over it?
You have that's it, so that's in the expenditure budget, which is after the revenue budget,
Yeah,
and it's on page, expenditure's a lot more pages than revenue.
Yeah.
Just like my house.
Can you, advise me of the page on this? I don't have it.
I'm looking for it, I'm sorry, so it's after you get past the revenue budget, then you get into the expenditure budget, and that's kind of where I was going.
Page 4.
And
No, I
basically
think I'm
there's-
past 4.
There's resort tax, because some of the, money comes out of resort tax. This is, every other year is, 2 police cars, 2 new police cars, so that's coming out of the resort tax budget.
And that's kind of a rule of thumb, because like this year, they're just going for 1, and last year they didn't go for any. But it's up to, we've kind of capped it at 2. It's on page 4 of the expenditure.
4 of the expenditure.
And it's down at the bottom of the page, 420,
Okay, got it.
100, law enforcement services.
Is that the only page we're talking about?
Yeah,
Well, it goes on to page 5, but it starts on page 4.
Thank you.
One of the related things that kind of came up, and it's, is there was an initial request, and we failed, and I will take ownership of that, to have them go and present in front of the Resort Tax Committee. They had set aside $50,000 with the idea, they had requested $50,000 from resort tax with the idea that they were gonna set that aside. And in fact, the purpose of that was to kind of put plans for a future law enforcement building that's a city-owned building. The planning board, did not include that in their budget. The reasoning they gave us is that we didn't show up and provide justification, and they were a little concerned about spending $50,000 or setting aside $50,000, without having a more solid plan. But at the same time, I think the request from the police was use that $50,000 to build a plan, you know, to kind of have a professional, the equivalent of like a PER done for it. One of the things that was interesting that was raised is, there's also in that resort tax budget, $400,000 for the ice rink down in Lions Park, but at the same time, that includes the PER, which hasn't been done there. So it was kind of like, what do we do from a consistency standpoint? But the resort tax budget does balance as it is. Certainly, council has the ability to change those numbers as they approve the budget. But one of the things we have to look at is anything we change at this point. So for the public, this budget is online. It's also out in the little folder. And this is now real budget, meaning we know what our income dollars are. So this is now a proposed balanced budget that's out there, and that doesn't mean it can't have changes. That'll be next, the second meeting in August, where we'll be approving the budget. But these are real numbers to get everything out there. Sandy?
yes. Steve?
No, this is the, what's the title, city budget?
This is the city budget.
Okay.
And so it's a couple of different income sources. So we have our property tax, which is up 1/2 the average rate of inflation over the last 3 years. And then we have the resort tax, which is actually, for us, a larger piece of the pie than property tax dollars are.
So the money, the idea was that we're going to need a law enforcement building at some point, because the old fire department, they've done what they could in there, but there is a limit to what can be done, to say the least. So we were hoping that the resort tax would start setting aside $50,000 a year until we actually had enough to move forward. But they weren't presented, the resort tax board wasn't presented with that. So because of that, we originally put it in the budget, and then we decided that we can't micromanage the resort tax committee without presenting a real request.
I caused a kerfuffle by not giving them a chance to weigh in, and so we took it out was
There was a kerfuffle.
the temporary.
I love kerfuffles.
Yeah, well,
With powdered sugar, though.
so, it looks like resort tax is scheduled for, Preliminary budget, 10,500 for security doors, shop heaters, and other improvements. And then machinery and equipment, 125,576, including, a new police pickup, vehicle upgrade and equipment, vest panels. And this is something I didn't know, that they have their bulletproof vest, but then there's a panel that goes behind it because the vest is good but not good enough. So they need those panels as well.
The vest holds those panels, so yeah, that's the bulletproof part.
That's the bulletproof part. Rifle replacement, and then police computers, body cams, office
Now,
computers.
are you looking on page 5 or 6 that you're saying that?
I'm actually on page 1 of 12 of a resort tax.
Oh.
That's
Here's
the resort.
The second half of that.
Yeah, that's the resort tax part of it. And then on the general fund, I'm on page 4, which, goes for law enforcement, which is personnel services, which covers a lot of things, including, and that's 792,893, workers' comp, office supplies, postage, janitorial, clothing and uniforms, firearm supplies, and, they did include $5,000 for the canine maintenance, which had not ever been on the budget. The officer who is the canine, handler, has been paying everything himself, so it seems appropriate that the canine's very
I
important.
brought this up 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and was that approved for him to pay out of hand?
A lot of the payments too did come from the Red Lodge Police Protective Association that we have through that community foundation.
If the question is, if anything, that we have not paid anything from a city
The
standpoint.
city has not.
So you're talking about like when warrants were signed?
I care more about the fact that he was paying, we didn't know he was paying out of hand for this dog. And that bothers me a
Well, the
little bit.
dog and the equipment was donated, and upgrades to the equipment and stuff, he did pay out of pocket. However, when other more, I guess, expensive expenses came about, the Red Lodge Police Protective Association stepped in and footed the bill for that.
Who is the Red Lodge Protective?
It's our nonprofit that we have, where we take donations. A lot of them come in for the canine specifically. And, it's through the community foundation. It's a 501c3, so we write up our,
But you're not gonna dip into that this year because you want the city to pay for the $5,000 for the dog.
it was designed specifically for, I guess, vet bills. The line item itself, because it's correct, I don't think he should be paying out of pocket for vet bills. That's when the RLPPA did step in and pay for a lot of those. I don't foresee, although you don't know what could happen with the dog. But I don't foresee any major expenses, but, upkeep on vaccinations, if the dog, gets hurt or needs a film snapped of an x-ray or something like that, if he gets hurt during training, then we want to be able to step in and handle that right away.
Yeah, so we did include that this time. So, I think that budget is gonna be coming in front of,
Okay, what was controversial 3 months ago was that we were told that there would be no expense to this dog, but now there is some added expense. I'm not against the dog, I'm not against anything, I just think we need to be upfront, that we were told there would be no added expense
yeah,
for the dog.
and that was the case, but I think the dog has proven himself. And at this point, it's time that the city should start
Well, the
paying.
dog was trained to prove himself
Right,
without the $5,000. But I'm not gonna make a big stink of it, I'm just saying, I've noted it, it's in my brain, and,
a lot of things change, you know?
Yeah, not necessarily. When the dog first got here, it's just like a brand-new police officer where they're very clean. And it's the continual upkeep, training. There's a lot of training that goes
Okay.
along with it.
No, I'll just want you to know that I'm paying attention.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions on the police budget? Okay,
And to answer the question from earlier,
yeah,
53 citations total for the month.
Fifty-three citations.
So of those 208, there was 53 citations, so about a fourth.
Correct.
Wow, 150 people got off. Was it warning?
A lot of times we'll give multiple warnings in one citation. It just depends on the contact.
On the issue,
Right.
offense, I should say.
It-
Okay, yes, Steve.
Just on that point, and for the mayor too, I know I've talked with other users at the airport, and some, brought up, they don't think, they're not certain that the 25 mile an hour speed limit is appropriate. I think it is. I think it's good. There's a lot of people walking on the trail, a lot of people who walk, if they choose not to walk on the trail, they walk on the street. There's lots of bicyclists. I think the 25 mile an hour speed limit is justified.
And just to get that, I know I've had this conversation with several folks one-on-one, but from a public standpoint, the initial request was two-part, and I was actually on council when this came in. It was a 35, and there was a request to change it to 25. It was from our previous chief of police, and those safety concerns with the biking and the trails were part of it. The other part of that is we have a couple of people in town who have a limited driver's license where the only vehicle they're allowed to drive is a golf cart. You are allowed to drive those on city roads if they are not more than 25. We don't control Brewery Hill, and so you can cross a road that's faster than 25, but you can't drive on a road that's 25. So the only way that people can get from the golf course to downtown and vice versa in a golf cart, which is necessary if they have a restricted license, is if they can do it without going on roads that are more than 25. So that was the secondary part of why that road up there is 25.
And frankly,
And I've never seen that, or when was the last time somebody went on that? And I know a certainty it got used once, because I drove a golf court, and because I knew what the rules were, I drove across and down White and then back to the destination, but.
well, I would also point out that all the other roads in town are 25 miles an hour, so.
I suspected that's something that will continue to come up, and council members will be asked about it, and, you know, what was the logic or what was the thinking? And by the way, that's something council can change if they want to go back to that, and certainly within their purview. I think they just need to understand what the thoughts were about why the original request came in to move it from a 35 back to a 25, and it's blocked over the years 2 or 3 different times.
Okay, we're gonna get into our solid waste,
Chief, thank you for the report.
very much. And what I did, and the colors were really important, originally, what I did is I copied the ordinance exactly, and then things that we took out, I crossed out, and things that I added were in red. And then, due to the city council, request as well, we added some blue ones in there. So the fourth whereas is the people of Red Lodge, it was live with wildlife, and they wanted coexist with wildlife. And down on 1B, we talked about, all commercial, industrial, and apartment operators, owners shall provide solid waste handling, and then the addition, that is an adequate size for the business and storage areas. Does that sound?
Well, we talked about that 3 weeks ago with Tom Kuntz, and he, it was interesting that I didn't realize that, you know, he was a little, nice word to say would be concerned that, people weren't buying large enough
An
containers for
adequate
their,
size.
which I think was, I didn't think of it that way, but sure, you're gonna buy one smaller because it's cheaper. And I don't know what to do about that. I mean, you go tell him your container, like, he's gonna, I mean,
Constantly, after a $100 fine a few times,
yeah, well,
they might
I
find
would
it cheaper to get a larger container.
Well, the notes that I had too from that conversation were that the appropriate place to address that was gonna be in the business registration, that was gonna be a requirement that they had. And so that was what I had notes from that conversation, because I looked through this. In fact, I changed the order a little bit, and I'm not sure I maintained, Sandy's color code, because I did it in Word, so whatever it did automatically, but there was a couple of the things that broke down into individual bullets rather than, but my notes that I had on that was that the place to do that was in the ordinance that we're doing, that'd just be a requirement that you had to, so once a year, there would be a true up, basically.
I don't remember that topic, I mean, it was 3 weeks ago, so what,
Yeah.
you know, having, I mean,
It was a wonderful
But-
3 weeks, wasn't it?
it was a wonderful 3 weeks.
Darn.
And then that's also like, if they're gonna be a restaurant, they have to have a grease trap, so that doesn't end up going down the drain, so it's just part of that concept,
But
conversation.
when they're registering for the yearly true up, how, that's good. Are we gonna have to have another ordinance? Like, if you have a restaurant, do you have this many yards, or I don't know how you are gonna come around with what sizes these companies, these businesses need.
I anticipate it's gonna be, must have adequate to, cause there was a wording here that we had looked at putting in here, and then it was like, that wasn't, so, but if you've been cited or warned 3 times in the last year,
Okay, well, I hope
We
we,
you've gotta have
probably-
it bigger or something.
right.
Probably not adequate size. And I'm not sure that when a restaurant opens, that they know how much waste they're going to have until they actually get into it, so. But at least we have it in here.
Okay, all right.
for adequate size.
Interesting.
And under C, we had all attractant waste shall be stored in a bear-resistant container. And then we added, 1 bag of non-attractant yard waste may be placed outside the container. And those are the only add-ons that we had with the, city council. How does everybody feel about this ordinance at this point? Are we ready to go to city council?
I'd say yes.
Patty?
I agree, yeah. We
Okay.
looked at it for a little while, and we've made some great changes, I think, with the public's input, too.
Yeah, very, very helpful. Okay, do we have any Bear Safe updates?
Our can count is up to 600
Oh,
right now, that was a week ago.
600 that need,
No, 600 that have, of 1,800 that have been logged and validated. Public Works Director is still working with, Republic to get that, to get that addressed, because once we've identified that they need to be corrected, they need to be corrected.
and how many out of that 600 were about a third?
It's interesting, and one of the things we need to go through and validate, so like I was involved with the ones up on the west bench, and, maybe 1 out of 20 or 30 cans was problematic, but there was a couple alleys we had downtown where probably 70 or 80% of them were marked as problematic, so there's been a little bit of a follow-up question, is that who's doing the testing, you know, and validating, and were they saying, well, it was difficult and it needs to be replaced, or are there really sections of town where the cans are that far out of whack? And that follow-up has not been done yet.
Okay. Then we're fine.
Okay,
There,
Sandra,
it's a higher level of non-functioning than what we previously understood prior to doing the survey. I think, I feel comfortable saying that.
I think, you said 30% were, that's pretty high.
That is high. But that's probably realistic.
Yeah, but,
I don't know about everybody else's beer containers. Mine, the latch doesn't go back and forth freely. I need to get the WD-40 and just,
Actually, silicone
Whack.
spray is the recommendation, not WD-40.
Oh,
okay.
But again, that's their job to come and fix that in reality.
I just have to play around with it a bit.
well,
Make
my
sure
guy
it's
jumps
not.
out of his truck with a screwdriver in his hand. I mean, he's all prepared to, you know, do whatever. to-
Kevin.
Oh, good.
Kevin.
Kevin's very good.
Good for Kevin.
And just from 3 weeks ago, I do remember this, that you were concerned about whereases. I looked into that, during 3 weeks, and whereases is considered archaic, but all of our ordinances say whereas, so let's just keep whereas.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
it's not,
protecting.
it's not quite the. And I put this on the agenda because I had heard that,
Did you change subjects?
yes.
You just used pronoun, you just put this, what are we talking about?
Number 6. I put this topic on the agenda, motorized bicycle, skateboards, unicycles, regulations, I kinda looked through both ours and the state, and this is gonna be something for you. I had heard that somebody was crossing from Hauser to turn up Brewery Hill, and it was dark, I was told, and there was somebody on a bicycle crossing over, and she hit the bicycle. And the bicyclist had no lights on or reflectors, she was totally, couldn't see anything, and then she was cited for that.
Yeah, that's, was this a motorized bicycle, like like one of those e-bikes?
I don't know,
Because as far as I know, by state law, you're not supposed to drive those around on the street,
e-bikes aren't supposed to be on the street?
as far as I know. That's what I was, my sergeant had looked into it, Sergeant Brown.
Well, there's an ordinance, no.
Yeah.
Well, let me comment, I know he doesn't own an e-bike, I know the person that was hit.
Okay, so, yeah, there
It
is
was a
a,
bicycle?
Yeah.
so when, as it pertains to bicycles, you have to follow, if you are riding on the street, you have to follow all traffic laws as if you were a motor vehicle, and your bicycle does have to be properly equipped with the safety equipment, i.e. reflectors. I believe you have to have a headlamp on your bicycle at nighttime. So, I mean, like, that's why when you see somebody go through a stop sign on a bicycle, technically that is a violation.
You're talking about state laws?
That's a
So
state
you're
law,
talking about they
yeah.
have to have reflectors?
Are they
Yeah,
supposed to
possibly
walk the
like
bike
at night.
across the street?
No, they don't, if they're following all state laws pertaining to bicycle usage on a roadway, they say a way of the state open to the public, they can ride across the street. However, if you're pitch black and you don't have reflectors or a headlamp and you get hit by a vehicle, it could be seen as contributory negligence. So make sure your bicycles are equipped with the proper
Chief, do you need a tail light or just a reflector?
reflector, and it's written in the state code. I don't
I
think
guess
it
the
has to
question
be
is,
a stroke.
do you feel it's adequate, or do you feel we need to do something at a city level?
I believe state code covers it. It's pretty cut and dry with, you know, how they should be operating. You know, the hand signals, the reflectors, the headlamp, all that stuff, it's all pretty standard throughout the US.
I mean, the state has, operation of golf carts on
Yeah.
public street where they have to have a tail lamp and a reflector and stop lamps and a horn and a mirror.
Yeah, there is a guy that
There's
doesn't
a
have.
lot on golf carts.
There's one guy specifically, I don't know his name, he's a character though, nice guy. He doesn't have a driver's license, he drives a golf cart around everywhere. And I think he's well within his rights.
Yeah.
Just being behind him it's an absolute pain, but,
You're
yeah.
telling me he doesn't hit 25
No,
ever?
I haven't seen it.
I think one of the concerns that came up from here, and one of the genesis of the discussion is, as my understanding is that the driver was cited, and I think their understanding was that the biker was not,
Was
which
not.
I don't know that they would know that or not know that, but again, I think that's the officers.
Can I get the date?
Everybody whoever gets cited will point out everybody else who was
Within
speeding on
July.
the road. But what about that guy? What about that guy? What
It might
about
have
that guy?
obviously
Yeah,
been
but as
June.
Carol Anderson told me when I came before her 25 years ago, ignorance of the law is no defense.
It was,
No,
uh,
no, and I'm not saying that, but I said, my question is,
It
are
was,
the laws there if the officer
at
chose or
10
chose not to cite,
Is that
then
right?
just they have the mechanisms available to do so?
So over on North Broadway, right? Is that what
Yeah.
that place is? Where that place is? Okay.
North,
Do you know the date?
no, I can ask.
If it was in July, I can tell you right now.
Was it in July, not
If
June?
it was.
It was in July.
Was it in July?
Well, no, well, it could
I
have
thought
been
it was
August.
June.
I thought it was fairly recent just by the virtue of how much it came up.
I was told about it a lot more than 3 weeks ago, probably more like 5
Okay.
weeks ago.
Okay.
Still could be July.
But I think going back to your agenda item, the question is, do adequate regulations exist for police to enforce that as necessary?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Considering that we've got a lot more electric bikes on the road.
Yep.
And they're not supposed to be on the roads, where are they supposed to be then? They can't be on the sidewalk.
My understanding was that if they had pedals, it was a bicycle, whether there was electric or not.
Right.
And then if it doesn't have pedals, it's not a bicycle,
I
then
could be
it's a
thinking-
motorcycle.
I could be thinking of one wheels.
Unicycles?
Well, the electric, the battery powered
Oh,
I don't know, how- I don't, they're
the
like a hover.
ranger type things, or the hoverboard, yeah.
Yeah, hoverboard, that's it. One thing that I will say is, obviously, and we never want to see somebody ran over in a crosswalk or hit
Anywhere.
while they're riding a bicycle. But does it happen? Yes. Does it happen often? Here, it does not. One thing that we should keep in mind is that we are well covered under state law to prosecute, charge somebody if need be. And if somebody's struck on a bicycle, obviously, it's a bad thing. We do our job with it, but if something out of the ordinary happens, I don't believe that we need to write up a municipal code to cover law enforcement every time something out of the blue happens. So just keep that in mind. In terms of state law, I think we're pretty well covered on our enforcement action.
I've looked up that state law in regards to snowmobiles, they don't stop at stop signs. So if they're all covered in that,
Yeah.
stop, if you're on the road, you abide by the laws on the
Look
road.
both ways,
So,
especially, and take into account too, what time are you, and obviously, you're allowed to ride a bicycle whenever you want to. But keep in mind, what time is it? Is it 2:30 in the morning on a Friday or Saturday? Should I be riding? And a lot of people are trying to do the right thing. If they go downtown and have a good time, I'm gonna ride my bike home, but try your best to get a ride, you know?
Can you cite them for drunken bicycling?
Nope,
Oh, you can't? Oh.
nope, 49
You go,
cc,
no.
49
I thought you couldn't
cc size,
avoid
you remember that? Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, 49 cc's or
We need
below.
another bicycle rocket up in front of
Yeah,
Snow Creek.
just make good decisions, that's all.
I
Okay.
don't think a bicycle is yourself, is it possible to ride a bicycle if you're really inebriated?
Oh, I've seen, oh, yeah, not very well, but, yeah, I mean,
right,
like,
right. Sober.
and keep in mind,
Get on a bike.
keep in
I
mind
can wear
too, I
it.
have
Probably
seen
not.
catastrophic
Right.
bicycle crashes,
Oh.
really bad. Yeah,
I would imagine, yeah.
I've seen catastrophic, electric motorized vehicle crashes to where people have died, so just
Oh, totally.
it's not good.
And-
Just make the right decision.
So, Madam Chair, are we good? Did you get what you wanted out of that?
Yeah, I was just concerned that the electric bikes are being rented now, so we're gonna be seeing even more than what we have seen. I don't know if they're supposed to ride at the side of the road or in the middle of the road, or,
I think, if you are on the roadway, just keep in mind, you must follow the traffic laws as a normal motor vehicle. Use your hand signals and please stop at stop signs.
Is the no-wheel vehicles on sidewalk state code, or is that a city ordinance?
City.
And so that would cover anything with wheels, your razors, your hoverboards, your bikes.
Skateboards. Now, if there's a 3-year-old child with training wheels on the sidewalk, we take that into account. We don't want children riding on the street down Broadway in July. That's where discretion comes into play. Yeah, we want to make sure that the kids are being safe.
I just wanted to make sure that the, city was covered with the changes that are going on.
Right.
Okay. And, I see the Hauser people here. This is gonna be off agenda.
That's public comment.
Public comment.
Okay, well, I couldn't even find the priorities or review the priorities, so maybe next time we'll set new priorities.
Right, you did the
Yeah,
waste ordinance.
so we'll
That
just
was
pass
priority.
that one up. Public comment. Have the lines been drawn?
They have not, but they will be. They are on the to-do list, so as soon as they're not dealing with broken water mains and stuff, they will be addressed. That is, it's not gonna have the word stop, but it'll be a stop line per the discussion.
Right.
And there's been a couple times it's been on the list and then things have come, but there's been a couple times it's been at the top of the list on the daily to-do. But those stop lines are gonna be put in. This year, we're not waiting because that's not a big, and one of the questions that kind of came up is, we've talked about in here is the scalability issue. What happens if somebody else comes and says, I have a stop sign, I want a line in front of my house? Put it in there too. It's not a big ask, so anyway, that's the update I have on that.
Okay.
Are things okay?
You guys noticed
I
any
still see
difference?
people purposely speeding from Fifth to Sixth. They stop at the stop
How do you know
sign.
they're purposely speeding? That's,
How?
Well, that's-
Because by the noise and looking at how fast they're going.
The acceleration
I'm
from the
standing there,
intersection.
Yes.
looking at them.
Normally, if there's gonna be another stop sign, you wouldn't be stepping on the gas so hard.
I've seen it numerous times, just like Colleen, where they stop, maybe not completely, but they give it the gas, they give it hard, and they're moving down, Hauser southbound fast.
I think the concern is the 15-mile-an-hour sign that's right there at Sixth Street is still hidden by that gigantic RV and trailer behind it.
Has that RV or trailer moved at all?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
it-
Not,
It-
not in 5 days.
Okay.
So here's, are there rules that talk about blocking a sign in general, or just our city ordinance that says the vehicle has to be moved every 5 days?
City ordinance, so.
And then the other one is that you're not allowed to camp in vehicles
Correct.
in the public right of way.
Yep, so I can say this with certainty, after our last meeting, I went down there, and I made my presence known. I believe that they were home or inside the RV, they knew I was there. I was knocking on the doors, and I'm pretty stubborn, so I didn't leave right away. And, I came back about an hour later, and the RV was gone, and then it came back and parked again.
And it has grown roots. It's got the stabilizer levelers
Yeah.
that have come out from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in addition to being plugged in and everything, it's kind of,
It moves
There
In
was
in.
addition, yeah, the plug-in is for power and water. There's a hose running out from the house to the RV.
Those are pretty good indications that there's a high likelihood or possibility at least that somebody's living in it,
Yeah.
so.
I would think so.
But that's a tripping hazard over the sidewalk.
besides that, it's a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
Can I add about the RVs? Yes, it does get moved, but within minutes, there's another pickup truck with a trailer as big as his, parked right there.
And.
I mean, it's very, very intentional. I don't know if he's trying to just save his parking spot or what.
You know, unfortunately, if he's purposely and knowingly doing that, I do understand. However, is he within the law? When he does that, he is.
And to cover up the sign.
Correct.
That's why I asked, is there any regulation that says you're not allowed to block signs at all? But I think it'd be really
Well,
hard to
then,
do.
I would suggest that there's not need to move the sign, because the sign is ineffective
Yeah.
going southbound,
I'd like to
because
make,
it's blocked.
I'd like to make one other point too. If you come down Sixth Street from the west, your view to the north on Hauser is thoroughly blocked by the motorhome.
Sunday,
And again, and I encourage and welcome people to come to these meetings, but I will add that anybody have those concerns are welcome to call dispatch on it too. That gets it into the queue for law enforcement. That's, it's definitely not council's job to direct our law enforcement. And to a certain extent, I don't feel it's my job, meaning I don't micromanage law enforcement. I do give directives that say, here's problems and concerns that we would like to have addressed, you have the tools.
Yeah, hearing.
But at that point, it's their discretion about how it fits in with the drug cases and the everything else.
Hearing the concerns is good, though. If I hear them, I'm not being directed by anybody, but if somebody from the public speaks out and says something, I will. Go ahead.
Sunday morning, I saw Purvis at IGA. I
Yep.
said, I'm gonna call dispatch, just want to give you the heads up, because there was a RV blocking the stop sign at 11th and southward.
Okay.
So a few minutes later, I called dispatch and told them,
Yep.
and then Purvis came by, and I don't know his first name.
Jeff.
Came by,
Yeah.
and he made contact with someone, and the RV was moved.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and I've done that twice this summer.
Yeah.
When they're obscuring, hiding stop signs.
Yep,
So
Yeah.
call dispatch. Okay.
yep.
All right.
But we're not
Thank you.
looking at somebody there that's like, they're permanently.
No, just
Semi-permanently.
call dispatch.
I know, I
And then
understand
if,
that.
he'll make contact.
Sure.
Just call dispatch.
So it's, day shift is my shift specifically. I mean, like, my role is not purely administrative, but mostly it is. I fly a desk a lot. If my guys are tied up and busy, and I see a call like that pop, I can take it if I'm not in a meeting or.
Were you the guy in the cruiser yesterday at about 8:30, sitting there, in front of the house next door to Steve in the morning about 8:30 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you.
Was it a blue car?
No, you were in a Red Lodge patrol.
That was Sergeant Webb then.
Oh, okay.
No, I was in the area though, and believe it or not, was watching the stop sign, so.
All right. And I was watching the guy across the street, the police officer in the car.
Yeah, no, he's a good cop.
Can I add another incidental about Hauser, and it's going all the way down past your house to the, skate park?
Uh-huh.
I just by chance have met two women who have worked at the Children's Center, and another one currently is working at the Boys and Clubs and Girls Club. So it came up, and they said, for years, we have been calling the city, we've been talking about, and this is a child, across from the park. And we've written letters, we've called, blah, blah, to the point, one gal said she's been here since, 2018. And I said, do we know what has happened with those calls or letters or whatever?
Mhm.
And should they be invited to talk about that part of Hauser?
You talking about
They
the children?
Isn't that a four-way stop right next to the,
Yes.
to the children's,
Was that Ninth Street?
because there's people come up and
Yeah.
said, we need a four-way stop, and I went and looked at it, and it is a four-way stop.
It's always been a four-hour stop, yeah.
Aren't there two, one at either end?
Yeah, I have a solution to that, and I'll probably be speaking out of turn, but I have a solution for it, and it's something for the city to consider. The Children's Center and the skate park, there's no residential blockage or anything like that, and it's right across the street from a park. Shut that down.
Yes.
Shut it down. For the safety of our children, it is not a big deal. Go around the block.
Go shut that street down.
Shut it down. Yeah, I'm, again, completely speaking out of turn, this is a Mike Maples question, but as it relates to child safety, there's no residences there on the street between 9th and 10th. If it's that much of an issue, we could or should explore the option of just blocking that off.
I know that they would agree with that.
Yeah, no, but again, I'm probably speaking out of turn. That's more so of a Public Works Mike Maples question, but that's just a suggestion that I have.
I don't think you're speaking out of turn, by the
You,
way.
you guys, yeah, you guys you're welcome to have that conversation with Mike. I would have a question about, I don't know how many large trucks go down that, just because
Apparently a lot.
Broadway is very problematic. I've
Yeah,
had a
it's
couple
tight.
of interesting times even to turn, we only have right-hand, that's what I do. If I'm turning on Broadway, I make a right-hand turn
I
and
had
go
to do
down the
that
block and turn
yesterday.
around, so.
I had to do that yesterday. Because I couldn't.
Rod,
You saw it.
I think the only concern with shutting that street down is it's the drop-off for children at the daycare center.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, leaving sufficient room for a vehicle to drop off and pick
Right.
up for mom and dad. How, like, we all see the,
You're talking about the street between the skate park and the park, right?
oh, yes,
Between
sir.
9th and 10th.
Yep, so like, if you look at the signs that we have up and down Broadway here, you could block the majority of the portion of that street off to allow parents to pick up and drop off, and it obviously doesn't have to say yield for pedestrians and crosswalk. It could say no
No
through
through
traffic,
traffic.
drop off and pick up only.
Yeah.
And that sends the point home. That's all.
maybe that's
That's-
that's
That's
something that's.
something to
Something-
definitely look at.
I would love to take
Definitely.
credit for that idea, but I heard it like 2 years ago. and
When I do the minutes, I will mention your name.
A little bit of credit, I like it.
Can I
Yeah.
add
Mr.
another
Mayor.
incidental? Evidently, one of those businesses has a camera, and they watched it.
The
and-
Children's Center does.
Yeah.
Yep.
That at 3:00 in the morning, you can see the people who were, having a box.
Yeah, we had a bicycle theft there, actually, and they have a very good camera of that area. The Children's Center does, the one that's on the northeast corner of that four-way.
Well, after listening to them, I thought, well, that's not gonna work, just to have those posts. It probably, 'cause
Right.
Should we start with signs?
Do we have the temporary signs there this year that we've had in past years, or did they all end up on Broadway?
Those were purchased, gosh, man, boy, that was like
It's a long time
10
ago.
years ago. Those were purchased specifically for Broadway. However, I think if you stagger them, skip a block here, put it there, it would be sufficient. But, I mean, I have seen the larger, not the traffic candles, but the big round
like a barrel kind of
Yeah,
thing?
like a
Okay.
barrel. And it's a conversation that I can have with Mike, and he's super easy to work with, and I honestly don't think that, I can't speak for him, but I don't think he would shake a stick.
So there was a second question that kind of talked about order, so I think there's one of two things. I think at this point, from an administration standpoint, please talk with Mike and feel free to move forward with what you guys feel is appropriate.
Perfect.
But we also have to be careful in that scalable thing, and I know you will, and I know Mike will as well, that it's not, that it's not just the squeaky and the, you know, it's not the squeaky wheel, it's gotta be a solid thing. And then the alternative is, council does have the ability to say, you will go do this. So you can introduce something and say, we're overriding you, go make, you know, we're closing down that street. That's something that council can do.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if it's so much of a squeaky wheel, because there is cause for concern, because there's little kiddos.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, I would say it's kind of an imperative.
We're down to about 3
Well,
minutes.
I think the only thing, we need to find out how much, warning we have to give people before we close the street. That's one thing that needs to be researched. I'll be
I
happy
would
to do
guess
that.
none.
I think maybe none,
No
but,
warning?
well,
No.
it probably
If you
doesn't.
permanently close the street, you don't have to warn the public.
Technically, no, but I
Oh,
think
okay.
that if you talk about it at public meetings at city council, and we put something in the paper, the city posts something on their Facebook website, I mean, like, you could reach a lot of people. Unfortunately, you could reach more people through social media now.
I'm not talking about a year, I'm talking about a week or a month or something.
Yeah.
Just
Sure, yep. I think warning is a good thing. It shows that the city's taking a proactive approach to letting the public know, hey, just so you know, you're gonna have to take an extra 14 seconds out of your day to go around the block.
Would
because-
be nice if they would funnel people down to the roundabout, then to Oaks to the post office, instead of zooming down Hauser. That would be probably, a nice, another benefit that,
Sure.
of the closure.
Sure, that's actually a really good point.
Doesn't the
I want
school have
credit.
signs that say pick up and drop off only?
You got, what's that?
Doesn't the schools have pick up
Yeah,
and
but
drop
that's
off
not
only?
the road, that's an off-road, like a
Yeah.
parking lot.
I think
Street parking.
you can make those signs read whatever you like.
So I think we've
We've beaten it to death.
we've given the direction I've given the direction to look at it, and I've written down on the Mike list too, so I'll follow it up with him, Mike.
Is he super busy today? Well, he's busy every day.
Well, yeah, we've got a bunch of water we're changing out right now, but you can reach out to him.
I'll send him an
You're the
email.
department head, reach out to him whenever you need to.
Yeah, but I hate pulling
2
people.
o'clock in the morning.
Last call for public comment. Okay, hearing
Thank you for
none, I'm
coming.
going to
Thank you.
adjourn the
Thank you.
meeting.